Guys, we just got a rental car in Germany and we are jumping on the Autobahn, the highway with no speed limits. It's gonna be crazy. I'm super excited because it's the only place in the world that I know of that has no speed limits. It's the only place that I have driven that has no speed limits. And when you told me you were German and
This actually, that is the number one thing that Americans tell me. When they know that I'm German, they say Autobahn, and then they say Oktoberfest.
Yeah,
But Autobahn is always the first thing.
Yeah, so when I learned that we're gonna live in Germany, I was like, yes. So we're taking you on the road with us. It's gonna be exciting, so let's do it.
Approaching the no speed limit zone. We're in it now. Officially no speed limit. Drive responsible.
Yo, we're in Germany right now on the Autobahn. I freaking love Germany for this, and the no speed limit thing is a great idea. Honestly, I think that the roads over here in Germany are just so perfectly engineered that it allows you to drive as fast as you want because the roads are just so perfect. Like, there's no potholes. You could never drive like this in so many different places, especially in New York. Like, we have potholes everywhere, and over here I haven't seen a single pothole.
Larry is driving 150 km/h right now.
But I think drive faster is just, it's hard to talk and drive this fast. I would say that you do have to be very careful driving at high speeds for sure. So talking and driving at high speeds is kind of a distraction, so I did slow down a bit. But I have hit 200 km/h one time on the German highway system. Let me know if you've driven in Germany. How fast have you ever driven on the Autobahn?
I must not have been in the car with you when you were driving 200, because there's no way.
Yeah.
I was not in the car with you.
Yeah, we drove from Germany to Belgium.
Oh my God. I was young. Larry was just driving 160 and it was weird for me. But I have to say, like, it doesn't feel like we're driving 150 or 160. Like, it's so smooth. Like,
Yeah.
it's really weird actually, because I remember like driving in Dubai and I remember being at 120 and like that's already too fast.
140.
kind of.
Sometimes you could drive 140 and it does feel really fast.
Yeah. So, wow.
But over here,
Okay.
160, it doesn't even feel that fast.
Yeah, but whatever you do, drive safe.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be speeding.
But if you're in Germany,
You also don't need to be speeding.
if you're in Germany, you should try it at least one time. That's what I would say.
Do you think the system of having no speed limit would ever work in America?
I think it can work in some states. I don't think it could work in every state. I think states that have a lot of open land, space to build highway system, I think it could work. I think one of America's biggest issues is alcohol, to be really honest. I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of drinking and driving. I think that combined with a highway that has no speed limits could be a major problem, because I think people get caught at high speeds in my opinion, are a lot of the times under the influence and they don't even realize they're breaking the law. That's just what I believe. But I think it could work, but needs some amendments on the highway system. All right, something else that I must say I like about Germany.
We're driving 150 and we're being taken over.
Oh, the speed limit just went down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just dropped to 100.
Ah, that's why.
What I was trying to say is that what I really, really like about Germany, and other places in the world do this too, but the fast lane or the far left lane is used as an actual passing lane, the way that it should be, and like people actually abide by this law. So it always feels like the traffic is flowing. So if you're driving slower, then you need to be on the far right lane, and then every lane to the left is a passing lane. And I really appreciate that here in Germany. I mean, again, in Dubai it's like that too, but a lot of people just drive really fast in Dubai.
I mean, people just usually sit in the left lane, like, because
No,
they
but
just want to sit there.
Yeah, but it's not. But they're still usually driving pretty fast. They're doing usually the speed limit.
But in most countries, it's not like I'm in the left lane and I'm not passing anyone, and now I'm gonna move to the one to the right. Like a lot of countries, they just be sitting in the left lane, including Dubai and America, or New York at least.
It depends though, I think, like on certain areas, because
oh, it's down, babe.
It's actually something that you really need to get used to, because it does drop a lot. It'll go from no speed limit to 100, and then it'll drop down to 70, but then it'll go back up to 100, and probably in a couple of 100 meters it'll go back up to no speed limit. I have noticed that usually happens when you reach an exit and an entrance, where people exit and get off. So after we pass this exit, it'll probably go back to no speed limit.
I remember one of the first times that you rented a car in Germany and you drove on the Autobahn. You were so confused that you were driving in the middle lane, and then people would take over on the left lane, and then they would kind of cut into your lane early.
Yeah, they kind of almost like the way that they drive. If I'm driving in the middle lane and there's nobody on my right hand side, so I'm not passing anybody. See, the speed limit just it just went from no speed limit back down to 100. Okay, but if I'm in the middle lane and I'm not passing anybody, then the person that's in the fast lane comes so close to me and almost sideswipe me. After a while, after like 4 times of this happening, I'm like, why do people keep doing this? Like, there's so much space. And then I realized, like, okay, they want me to be in the far right lane because I'm not passing anybody, which technically I'm kind of disrupting the traffic, or the flow of the traffic rather.
Remember in our last video we said Germans love rules.
Exactly.
They will enforce them.
Exactly.
So even on the Autobahn.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, amazing highway system. I love it. I like that everybody follows the rules, and I think that's important. And I also feel safe on the roads, because like I don't really think people are like under the influence of any type of drugs and alcohol, and I just feel like even getting on and off the highway is like, I feel like you can't really make a mistake so easy like how you can make a mistake in America. I feel like it's so easy to just go onto oncoming traffic. Over here, I feel like that's not really a huge concern. That's just my belief.
I think one of the craziest things that Americans are gonna be very surprised about to hear is going to be the emergency Gasse, what we call. Hopefully we will see it on this trip. I mean, okay, there's like, hopefully we don't see it, because that would mean we would be delayed. But hopefully, for the sake of this vlog, we will see it, and you're gonna be very surprised. So keep watching till the end to see the Gasse, because I honestly don't know if any other country does this.
I have not seen any other country do this, but anyway, we'll explain it later. So.
Back into the right lane.
Why would I'm about to pass people.
This looks like it could turn into a Gasse.
I mean, not that we're waiting for a traffic jam.
Okay, so let's talk about the emergency Gasse, as we were mentioning earlier. This is something that is German law, and it's also implemented in a couple of other European countries. And basically, it is the law that when you drive on the Autobahn and there's a traffic jam, so there's stop and go happening, all the cars that are on the left lane have to go very close to the left, and all the cars on the right lane have to go very close to the right edge, so that a police or a emergency vehicle could go in the middle of the two. So basically that is an emergency lane, a third lane that is created in that sense. And yeah, the same, if there's 3 lanes, then 2 of them would go into one side and 1 would go on the other side. So again, you would make 4 lanes out of it, so that emergency vehicles, if there is an accident with injuries, for example, that these emergency vehicles get there fast. And the law is that you have to do this regardless of whether or not there is an accident in the front. So yeah, that's a super interesting thing that I don't think would work in too many countries, to be honest, but it works very well in Germany because Germans love rules.
So wherever we travel around the world, whenever we rent cars, we actually use Discover Cars. It's a really, really great platform. I really like the website because you can basically select a car based on whatever needs you have. So whether you want full insurance and you don't want to deal with any type of hassle when you pick up the car, like, it's really solid. So we'll drop a link in the description section down below for that.
Since this was a hot topic in one of our last Thailand videos, let me ask you, did they ask you for international driver's license?
No, they didn't.
Did they ever ask you for international driver's license before in Germany?
I've never been asked for an international driver's license.
So I guess you should still have it though. Don't know.
Okay, so when I first moved to Germany, I did not know how to drive a manual car. And I do think that if you plan to live in Germany, then you kind of need to know how to drive manual. My lovely wife taught me how to drive manual because like I needed to know. But anyway, when I picked up this car today, I knew that the car was going to be manual, but he asked me if I would prefer to have an automatic car. But to be honest, I wasn't really trying to pay more to drive an automatic because I know how to drive manual. But he said he's gonna just upgrade me to an automatic. And then Charlie, you said, what did you say?
Okay, I said that usually, you know, they charge more for the automatic, but probably now they realize after so many years that it's probably cheaper for them in the long run to just give the Americans the manual car, because the manual, I mean, there's a lot of wear and tear if you don't know how to drive it.
Yeah, you mess up the gearbox or something.
So yeah, I mean, back then it was harder to get automatic cars. You had to rent a lot of manual cars.
Yeah. Now it seems more common to just get an automatic, which I love. I appreciate automatic cars. Again, I can drive manual, but sometimes it can be quite stressful to think about, you know, changing the gears, going up hills, being on the highway like these. And yes, it's just one less thing to think about.
Yeah. I remember like being somewhere in Antwerp or Belgium somewhere.
Oh God.
And us being like on a steep hill, and then the car in front of us stopped and we're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
Larry, you were driving and you're like, oh my God, I don't think I can get this car up the hill.
Yeah. It's very stressful. I did not like stopping at all. I didn't want to stop in a manual car,
Yeah, even for me, like when I have a horror story, because I didn't drive cars like until we moved to Dubai, actually. Even though I had my driver's license, I never drove cars. And then I had to take Milka from Hamburg to Frankfurt to move to Dubai. And I had to drive there, and it was so bad because that was like the first time in like, I don't know, how many years? 5 years? The first time in 5 years that I drove a car, and it was manual, of course. And then I was driving up a hill, and I was in the far right lane because the car was just getting slower and slower and slower and slower. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. The 18-wheeler is behind me, honking at me because I'm getting slower and slower going up this hill. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I called my brother and he's like, did you put the gear down? Like, you have to put the gear down if you go up a hill. I'm like, no, I didn't. Yeah, I mean, a lot of crazy stories with manual cars. So just rent the automatic if you can.
This is German efficiency right here, buddy.
We're supposed to wait.
Why?
This is not very efficient. You see how much space you left between the two cars?
Oh, you better recognize. I'm from New York, son.
Not very efficient. It took me like 3 turns. Oh again. He's already looking at you like, what's wrong with you? Oh God. Okay. Oh, yo. You felt that.
There's nothing.
You felt that, right?
It's just
The car just went down.
What car went down?
I mean, back.
All these new tech cars. All these buttons.
Blame the tech.
What is that? What's going on?
Did you put the brake?
Okay, so it's 2 park buttons.
Well, this is the handbrake. This is the park
Why I need a handbrake for?
Because that's how we roll.
Okay. We done? Okay, so we just arrived to our destination. We are actually at a motorhome expo and we are actually trying to decide between a motorhome versus a trailer. Let us know in the comment section which one you prefer. Honestly, it's really hard for us to make a decision. We are actually kind of thinking if this is the lifestyle we might want to live. We don't know yet. We're doing a lot of research, but we're excited. Let us know in the comment section. Guys, if you enjoyed the German Autobahn, let us know in the comment section about that. It's definitely wild to drive with no speed limits over here. Until then, we will see you in the next video. Bye.